Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Return to the planet of the apes.
Welcome to another episode of Go Ape Podcast. I'm your host, Jon Randall. With me as always,
I'm Brandon Geringer.
And we will be with you every week, bringing you Planet of the Apes, news, and reviews until we decide to stop.
That's correct. We will stop at some point.
That's all I had this week, just until we decide to quit.
All right, so Battle of the Planet of the Apes.
Wow, right into it, huh?
No, we got some stuff to talk about. Not too much.
I had nothing happen this week. There you go. I'm wrapped up.
You had to have something happen.
The only thing that of any kind of consequence since the last time we recorded is I found out they had a Big Trouble in Little China comic book, and that goddamn book is sold out everywhere. The first issue. It's ridiculous to try to find.
Need to be more on the news.
So
the comic book news is what you need to be on top of.
Yeah. So a friend of mine, I'm gonna try to get him to buy me a copy of issue 1 at San Diego Comic Con.
Never heard of it.
Yep, me neither. It's some sort of comic book show. So aside from that, that's really all I got.
That's all you got? All right, that's pretty quick.
You had big accomplishment this week.
Big accomplishment. I finally had it's a double feature adventures. It's 2 adventures for this game called the Mutant Epoch role-playing game. It's a post-apocalyptic role-playing game, and I am a game designer and writer for Outland Arts, the company that makes the game. And I actually put out on Draft2RPG PDF, pay what you want model, 2 adventures, and it's selling very well, and it's in the hottest titles on RPG Now, and it's a huge dream come true for many, many years of actually wanting to make my own adventures, get them published, and maybe get a little bit of money, maybe $7 or $8 or $12 from it at the end of the day, and I look forward to making more. So it was a huge day of me looking on the internet for reviews, which I instantly got 2 5-star reviews, which made my day. And I'm very pleased. It's called they're called One Day Digs, and it's supposed to be very short adventures to get you into the Mutant Epoch role-playing game. And it's very cool. And I'm very, very I realize that if I actually try something and put my mind to it and have big help from somebody that's very, very kind to me, I can get it out there, and I can get stuff done, made. So, I'm a professional now. So what do you think about that?
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
You're also a professional podcaster. We're on iTunes, you know.
We are. We got 5 stars. We got 3 reviews.
Yep. Speaking of reviews, 5-star reviews on iTunes are appreciated.
Yep, that would be nice. Any reviews, you don't even have to really write anything. Just do the stars. That would be very nice for the podcast.
I actually don't even care if you give us 1 star. Like, I just want to know people's honest opinion, because we can't change the podcast and make it better unless we're getting any kind of feedback. So,
well, I guess it's perfect then. That's what I'm seeing.
Perfect podcast.
It's perfect podcast. It's right up there with the Ricky Gervais podcast. And what other big popular podcasts are there? That's about it. What's podcast that made it big?
Adam Carolla is pretty big.
He's a cool guy. And the Big 3 podcast is pretty good. We like the Big 3 podcast.
Yeah, but that's a niche podcast.
That's a great podcast. And you need to go out there and you need to listen to the Big 3 podcast with Don, Mole, and Scary Perry, right?
After you're done listening to us.
Yeah, after you're done with listening to us, of course. What else we got? Well, let's talk about a little bit about Planet of the Apes news. A movie came out called Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yesterday.
Came out yesterday. Rave reviews. Everybody I've heard from says it's fantastic. I think it's got a 90-something on Rotten Tomatoes.
Bit of a disagreement between us. I said we should have went and saw it today.
I disagreed.
Brandon disagreed.
Well, this is the plan. See, you're listening to Battle of the Planet of the Apes today. Next week is going to be
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, and then we're going to do Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Which, incidentally, I kind of believe we should still record that live tonight. Us just mocking the movie for the whole 2 hours.
We'll figure that out. We'll
make it the longest podcast we've had, but still,
no one will listen to that.
There'll be some good laughs.
No one will listen to that. I'm certain. Plus, we'll see about that. And then we've got Rise, and then I figured let the movie kind of calm down a little bit in the theater.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
And then what we'll do is we'll go during the day when it's a little bit chiller in the theater. I don't have to strangle somebody or yell at some kid or something.
How are we going to go? You got your baby.
Well, I'll let somebody. My mom will take care of my baby.
Okay.
And then we'll go watch it. And then right after that, we can do the podcast, and y'all get it instantly. So it'll be fresh in our minds, freshly recorded, and freshly given out to you. So we didn't plan this accordingly to the schedule of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes coming out. But it's all right. It's doing great. It's a great film, apparently. They say it's... I haven't heard one bad thing about it. Some people gave it bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Just people are foolish, probably. And, yeah, it's supposed to be fantastic. So, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It's out now. Go see it. If you're a Planet of the Apes fan, you probably already have seen it. We are fans, but we want to give you the right in line with the releases. So, hopefully you'll be listening to Battle of the Planet of the Apes. Next week's will be Tim Burton's Rise, and then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Right.
And we don't have James Franco. That's done. We've cut that relationship off at the knees.
Kind of burnt that bridge last week.
We did a little bit, and so not a big deal. We could possibly have some other people be interested in being on the podcast.
That we have spoken to.
This is not a joke. We have done a couple jokes in this podcast. This is not one of them. And so yeah, that's something maybe for the future that might come up down the road. So after we do Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, we're going to go right into Planet of the Apes TV show. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's
1970s TV show, not the cartoon. Although, I think we should do an episode of the television show and an episode of the cartoon each week.
We can figure something out like that. That'd be cool. I got no problem with that. We'll end this earlier.
It's true, we will. But this always had an end. It's not like we're going to drag this out forever.
And then we'll have to figure out what we're going to do after this.
Yep.
We're going to keep doing this?
Well, it's probably a new podcast. Not Go Ape anymore.
No, we won't Go Ape.
Go Ape will be retired.
All right. Maybe Grape Ape. All right. What else we got?
Well, we have a new segment this week.
Oh, boy.
It's called Walken with Walken.
Really?
And Christopher Walken's going to be on the show.
Oh.
So let me play the jingle for that real quick.
Okay, we got a jingle for the Christopher Walken.
Walken with Walken. Yeah.
Walken with Walken.
It's 2 minutes with Christopher Walken.
Hasn't someone else used that before, Walken with Walken?
Probably, but I thought it up on the way back from lunch
Probably
today.
did. You're not very clever.
Well, we'll see. Here's the jingle. And the jingle's definitely original because I wrote it.
Ooh.
So here we go.
Did you sing it?
I'm about to play it for you. If anybody out there is musically inclined, listening, and wants to take this sound clip and throw a little music behind it, and then send it back to us,
I could eat a nub at night.
That's terrible. We'll be happy to use it in the show. Here's the jingle for Walking with Walken. We're walking with Walken, Christopher Walken. What's up, Chris?
Hello. How are you, Jonathan and Brandon?
Doing fine.
What's going on with your podcast?
Well, not much. Have you been listening to the show?
Of course. I'm your biggest fan.
Well, my biggest fan.
Yeah, come on.
Do you like me or Brandon more?
Oh, Brandon's hilarious. Come on, Jonathan, you're a good guy, but I'll be damned if you're going to do anything that even remotely touches Brandon. Thanks a lot, Christopher. That's really great that you say that. No problem.
I don't even know what to say. It's kind of rude, but you're a guest on our show.
Oh,
I am
well,
the host.
I'm a big star. Don't you understand?
You were the king of New York.
Yes, a very good movie. And I want to let you know that I've been a fan of the Planet of the Apes for a long time.
It's funny because you were around acting then. I mean, you could have been in some of these movies in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, that would have been great for me as an actor. But I was making movies like The Deer Hunter, a very good movie, very upbeat film.
That movie was kind of depressing, actually.
Negative, very good. Watch it again, you'll see. But I do like these apes. So many apes in these movies.
How many times have you gone ape?
Several times. Many times I've gone ape. And after listening to your podcast, I've wanted to go back and listen and watch these movies again. They're great. You got guys like Cornelius and Dr. Zira. Very good fellas. I like them a lot.
Now, tonight, Brandon and I are going to watch the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie. What's your opinion of that?
Oh, Well, now that I haven't watched. I heard it was trash. I'm not going to watch. It's such a filth film from Tim Burton.
But it's got Paul Giamatti in it.
Well, he's a good guy. He was Rhino in the newest Spider-Man movie.
I still haven't seen that yet.
Nor have I. I've been eating a lot of steaks. Many steaks. You'll see, when you're rich like me, it's very good to eat a lot of steaks. You know, because I'm rich, once again. But listen here. I want to let you know that I believe Escape from the Planet of the Apes, you're really wrong about that.
Well, that's
Jonathan.
2 minutes with Christopher Walken. Sorry, Chris, you've had your time.
Well, fellas, again, if you want me back on your podcast, let me know. There's no problem.
Oh, we'll consider it.
Well, thanks a lot. And Brandon, keep being hilarious. You're a good guy. Jonathan, maybe apply yourself a little more. See you later, fellas.
I'll look into that. Thanks.
Well, that was Christopher Walken. Oh, I can't believe it. Our first big star on the show.
Yep.
All right.
First big star.
So let's get to Battle of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. It was a movie we watched this week. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
A little bit of recycled footage in it.
It's got some recycled footage. Again, budget was very low on it. And this is Battle of the Planet of the Apes. This is the 5th film in the original 5 films in the 70s.
Yep, so we're wrapping up. This is our final of the original film.
This is it. This is a movie, I believe, probably as they go on, less and less people probably saw this film. It's a shame because it does have some good stuff in it. And at the end, I'll tell you exactly, my wrap-up of what I think about it, but it starts out in the year 2670 AD, obviously. And it starts with the lawgiver. He's telling the story. Once again, these movies have got to recap, as you know. And they're telling the story of Escape from the Planet of the Apes and Conquest. It's shown in flashbacks, once again.
And it's important to note that it's none other than himself, Gandalf.
Yeah, it's Gandalf.
Telling the story.
That's Gandalf from the cartoons, the Rankin and Bass cartoons.
Which are the superior Hobbit films.
They are the superior Hobbit films.
It's John Huston.
Yep.
And who, by the way, if you're keeping score, probably has the best voice from Hollywood.
Yeah, he's got one of the best voices.
I mean, it's right up there. I know a lot of people probably say James Earl Jones or Morgan Freeman have really good, narrating voices.
Christopher Walken's got a good one.
Let's not kiss his ass.
Right.
But John Huston is probably up there as one of the best narrating voices in Hollywood.
I agree with that. It's very
and a great director. He directed some amazing films.
It's very distinctive.
So he's the lawgiver.
Yep. So it's 10 years after Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. It's the year 2001. So a little close to where we are now. It's a little closer. And what you've got is you've got apes and men living somewhat in harmony in this kind of wilderness community.
Yep.
Okay? The apes can talk now. So that was a quick escalation 10 years later that they're able to speak. Well, that's about right.
They're in school.
They're in school. They're learning stuff in school.
Dear John's their teacher.
And it's amazing that in 2001, they're still wearing all the same costumes and outfits that they'll be wearing thousands of years in the future. Like, you'd think with apes that they'd be like, you know what? Is there any room for, like, fashion? You know what I mean? Like, let's do... But I guess fashion's a fad. Remember that? That's what your boy Lucius said.
Yeah,
that
he doesn't go to fads.
Yeah, like fashion and stuff. So, I don't know. It's just amazing that they're still wearing this is a precursor, so you're getting to see them still wear their normal outfits. And Cornelius is Caesar's son, because Caesar is now head of this community. And he's named after his grandfather.
Now, this is obviously not the Cornelius that is later on in Planet of the Apes, because, I mean, you're still talking like 1,000 years difference.
Yeah, he's named
from where the lawgiver starts. Now, we're saying, this is like 2001, so obviously this is not the Cornelius from the first movie, which is in like 37...
Which is his grandfather.
60-something.
Which is his grandfather. So it can't be.
Right.
All right. And what else? We got them in school.
Yep.
And we see
they're teaching them to read and write.
And they have to write what?
Ape shall not kill ape.
So that's back again.
Except for Cornelius, who writes ape shall not kill Abe. And the teacher corrects him, and then to whom they were always referred to as teacher. Yeah. And Cornelius says, have you been called teacher so long that you've forgotten what your name is? And his name actually is Abe. So he was saying, ape shall not kill Abe, the teacher. And he's like, he kind of laughs. He's like, you're right. He's like, I've been called teacher so long, I actually did forget my name. And there's a gorilla that shows up late to class.
Yep.
A little bit of an asshole.
Yep, his name's General Aldo. He's our new asshole in the film, a new villain. General Aldo. He's head over the army, I guess.
Yeah,
the guerrilla army. Okay. And what's interesting is that the name Aldo was the first ape to talk in Escape from the Planet of the Apes whenever Dr. Zero and Cornelius re-say the story of the history of the apes. So that's kind of an interesting little name once again that says that Aldo was the first talking ape. That's whenever they're telling the story to the human scientists. So you'll have to go back and watch Escape from the Planet of the Apes to see that part.
I won't do that. I'll just take your word for it.
Aldo gets pissed at what he's written, what Cornelius has written, right?
I guess. I mean, he's just being an asshole the whole time in class. Like he's that typical person you had in class that just disturbs everybody else, cutting down on my learning time.
Jeff Spicoli.
Well, he did say it's our time.
That is true.
Not just Mr. Hand's time.
That's true. So the gorillas proceed to, the teacher says no to him whenever he's about to rip up his thing.
Big mistake.
Yeah, it was a big mistake. The gorillas go ape.
Everybody.
Ching.
Everybody goes ape.
Everybody goes
the
ape.
Chimps.
Yeah.
I mean, just everybody goes berserk.
And they just beat the shit out of that school. Hardcore. I mean, they go to town on that school. They hate it.
Yeah, they tear it apart. And now, we should say, the reason why they go crazy is the word no was the disciplinary word that they used in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes that you constantly see them telling them when they're trying to teach them to, like, pour water in a glass or mop or whatever. Every time they're wrong, the word no has been associated as a word to hold them back, kind of hold them down. So that word has been forbidden in this time. Like no human can say no to any kind of chimp or gorilla. Yeah, ape.
Or ape.
Yeah.
So the teacher he gets the hell out of there because they're going to beat his ass.
Yeah, he takes off running. The gorillas chase him.
Yeah, they chase after him. So he pretty much runs to pretty much the footsteps of Caesar's treehouse. A lot of these people live in tree houses.
Right.
And that's when you see the new character played by Paul Williams, which is a male orangutan named Virgil.
Who is the smartest goddamn ape that's ever lived.
He's a genius. I got written down, Virgil is a fucking genius.
Well, we skipped over it, but earlier he was talking about physics with someone.
Yeah.
Like in-depth physics. And I'm like...
He's something else.
He's the smartest ape that's ever existed.
In 10 years, he really caught on quick.
Yeah. It's unbelievable what he's picked up.
And so
Virgil comes up because Caesar comes out, and he's like, well, what's going on here? And Virgil quickly steps in on behalf of Teacher, and says, Teacher accidentally said, I believe he referred to it as like the negative imperative.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And and he didn't mean anything by it. It was just an accident that he said it. And Caesar reminds the teacher, you can't say that to any kind of ape. You're not allowed to do that. But then Caesar, taking the side of teachers, like, get back to school and fucking fix the place up because you just tore it apart.
Get to work.
To which they don't take very kindly to that either.
Well, the gorillas are just crazy, pretty much. Throughout this whole movie, they're just pretty much berserk.
Well, you can tell Aldo has no respect for Caesar.
No respect whatsoever. Well, he thinks that he should rule over Caesar, obviously.
Right. So they take off. They don't even go back to fix up the school. They just leave.
Then we get introduced to a new character. His name is also MacDonald, but it is not the original actor from Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. This is a different actor, and that's because the original actor refused to be in Battle of the Planet of the Apes. Now, I don't know what type of balls you have or how big you think you are that you're going to refuse to be in a sequel to this long-going movie series here.
Franchise.
I've never seen him ever. I mean, I don't know who he is. I'm going to have to look into this guy. He's got some real... he thinks he's the shit, I guess. So he refused to be in Battle of the Planet of the Apes. So they got a new guy. His real name is Austin Stoker.
Yep.
And he plays MacDonald's brother.
Yep.
And so he's got the same name. So it's kind of like they're trying to kind of do a little switcheroo, I think, on you and say this is kind of the same guy for pictures and posters and stuff like that.
Like they did with Brent and Charlton Heston. Like They're trying to capitalize on appearance.
Right, exactly. And he's a smart guy. He's a good character throughout the whole movie. And
yeah, I like him a lot, actually.
You find out just with these different types of, even though they're living in kind of like in harmony together, you obviously realize, and they tell you pretty much, that humans and apes are not equal. That apes are the dominant ones.
Right.
But they still...
Humans aren't necessarily enslaved at
right.
this point, but they are definitely the lower rung, and the apes are higher up. It's also interesting to note that Austin Stoker parlayed this role into playing Jeff on the cartoon.
That's correct. He plays Jeff in the cartoon, which we'll be talking about later.
So, from doing this role, he kind of got that other role, which worked out best for him. Mm-hmm. So take that, First McDonald.
I know. Whatever you're doing.
Yeah, whatever your real name is.
Pushing up daisies.
That's bad.
Probably. I know. So we find out, Caesar finds out through MacDonald and Virgil as well, kind of. Really from MacDonald, though, because he was, they know about the city that they were in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. He's told about a video that he can watch of Dr. Zira and Cornelius, his parents.
Yep, showing his parents.
You find out that Lisa is now his wife, and obviously their son is Cornelius. And Caesar decides to go to the Forbidden City, which has been destroyed by nuclear war. And they're afraid of the radiation. They talk about some of that. And the Forbidden City is the city from Conquest, pretty much. And so Virgil, MacDonald, and Caesar got to go get weapons. They're going to go into the Forbidden City. Now, it's forbidden to go there, and that's why you call it forbidden. That's his rule. Okay? Yep. And it's his rules to break, obviously.
Which Virgil points out later as well.
Yeah, he does point out later. So they have to go to this armory, which is guarded by this old orangutan. And
Virgil's teacher.
Yeah, Virgil's teacher. And they get weapons from him.
Also very smart. I mean, he does a lot of questioning, too.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, why do you need weapons? And they're like, well, to go get this. And he's like, why do you need to get that? So then eventually, because Caesar is not answering the questions in the way that the orangutan that's guarding the armory wants them answered.
Right.
Finally, Virgil steps in with his logic and says an answer that is satisfactory to that orangutan.
Right.
Because not only is he the keeper of the weapons, he says he's the keeper of Caesar's conscience, basically.
Right.
And he knows that, even if Caesar demands guns, there has to be a reason why. He's basically in case Caesar was to come there with a hot head, he's the cooler to basically be like, you need to think about what you're doing.
Yeah, think about what you're doing.
So
I've got written here, they have to finagle this old bat. I've got written down, this old man. Get out of the way, old man. They got tons of guns in there. They got a 50 caliber machine gun.
Yeah, there's 50 caliber machine guns sitting on a table.
I mean, they've got tons of guns, so they met out well. And now, the movie then has Virgil, Caesar, and MacDonald. They travel outside of their little wilderness community, and they head towards the Forbidden City. And I've got to say that once again, and I'm going to talk about this scene pretty well, because in my opinion, the following scene is the best scene in the whole film. And I would almost put it as one of my favorite scenes for the whole 5 movies. And that is when they go back into the Forbidden City. Great matte paintings are used once again, like in Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And the sets that they're on look fantastic. And I was thinking about it today before we were making this video, what movies do you know of have someone exploring the kind of underbelly of a post-apocalyptic city? There's not very many that I can think of. And I'm certain there's plenty of B-rated movies out there, movies that weren't big and popular, that I haven't seen, that people saw. But there's not a bunch of mainstream movies where you have a chimp, an orangutan, and a human going through a post-apocalyptic city that they used to pretty much live in, right? Or know about.
Yeah.
So it's just a great, and of course, I like post-apocalyptic stuff. That's what my adventure is that I wrote, is post-apocalyptic stuff. So this whole scene here is, I think, the star of this movie. As the 3 of them dive back into the underbelly of the Forbidden City. And the sets look great. They've got a car that's melted. Everything looks melted. I like the way they look a lot. And then you get introduced to some new players. Who was that?
Well, sort of new.
Yeah, sort of new.
It's the new governor. Okay,
Yep.
because the governor in the last movie, if you watch the unrated version, got his head smashed into jelly.
He was pulp.
But the new governor is his old crony.
Yep.
That was in charge of what was the word? It was like the interrogation chair, but I can't remember the
for
word
Armando.
for it.
Yeah.
But he was the guy that was basically interrogating people, and he was like the governor's, one of the governor's like right-hand men. So he's taken over and become the leader of the humans, the surviving humans that are still living in the city.
Right. They're living underneath the city, underdwellers.
In terrible radiation.
Yeah, terrible radiation. They've got caps on their heads for some reason, which is just something to make them look familiar later on, which we'll talk about. But this guy, for 10 years, he's still been eating well, because he's pretty plump. They've got a couple of, like, it looks like oatmeal on their faces a little bit here and there. That's their mutation.
I guess that's supposed to be, I guess that's supposed to be their skin rotting off from radiation poisoning.
That's all right. And radiation is an issue, and they keep bringing it up.
Which I assume that's why they might have been wearing the caps, because maybe they were all bald, except he still had his beard.
Yeah, it's tough
or,
beard.
like, his like, Van Dyke or whatever. So, like, I mean, he obviously didn't lose that, but,
right.
You don't really see anybody else's head, because everybody's wearing, like you said, hats or skull caps or whatever.
So they're all living there, and they're kind of living in the dark almost, and there's a bunch of machinery and stuff that they're getting. You get to see ape management once again in its ruined state. They have plenty of weapons as well. You get to see a lot of their stores. I only saw one woman. It's the main woman that's part of the mutants.
Yep.
Which that's kind of interesting. A lot of the dudes just look like, I don't know, they just look kind of rough. Not too rough. They just look like a greaser who should be fixing a car, is what they all look like to me. But it looks like it's filmed in what I used to always call like a Yugoslavian like power plant or something, like an old broken down power plant, because it's just a bunch of tubes and concrete and these walkways and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed the scene a lot. And they go and they have these big reels of video, and they're able to find the video, of course.
McDonald, Caesar, and Virgil.
Yeah, Caesar. That the three of them find the video. They start watching it. And it's kind of messed up. You can't really see a whole bunch of it. It's not moving, but you can hear their voices. And so that's a cool moment for Caesar to see his folks. But oddly enough, there's surveillance cameras.
That still work.
That's fine. I mean, those guys have been in there. This is the problem I have. Governor recognizes Caesar from the surveillance cameras. So 10 years ago, one ape, okay? Now, a lot of these apes look alike. I don't know about you.
That's racist.
Well, I mean, a lot of these apes look alike. And for him, after 10 years, on video, to be like, hey, that's that same ape. And his name is Caesar.
I gotta be honest, I agree with you. For him to go, Caesar? Yeah. I'm like, come on, dude, really? Like, you instantly knew that was Caesar?
And they move the camera a little bit, and Virgil fucking hates that camera that moves. And he gats the shit out of that surveillance camera.
Like an idiot.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
He's like, and he instantly apologizes to Caesar. He's like, sorry.
Yeah, but they're
going to know we're here. And I was like, dude, the camera's already pointing at you. They already knew you were here, so don't worry about it. Like, for somebody so smart, it was kind of dumb of him not to realize that anyhow. What's it matter?
Right.
But, like, now, at this point, the governor orders his men, get your weapons, go bring us those apes back.
Don't kill them.
Shoot to maim.
Yeah, shoot to maim.
Now, somebody steps up to the governor at this point and says, what are you doing? You're going to break 12 years of peace.
What's his name?
I didn't catch the guy's name.
Browse is his name.
Browse.
This guy's got some real Eugene Levy brows going
I thought
on.
he should have been played by Salieri from...
Or Abe Vigoda.
Abe Vigoda would have been fine.
He's got some fierce brows. So I call him Browse, and that's what I'll be referring to this guy as.
Okay, so Browse says to him, what are you doing? We're going to break 12 years of peace. There hasn't been any kind of war. And the governor doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I want them. He's like, I want them captured. So this guy, by the way, Browse, is the only one that has any sense whole film.
He's got a lot of sense.
Like, honestly, if he would have just shot the governor in the face...
Taken over.
Military
coup.
Him and Caesar could have instantly worked out everything
They
together.
could have shook hands, but grasped each other by the forearms when they shook their hands. Not the hands, the forearms.
Because what you're going to find out in this film is this. Browse and Caesar would have worked out peace with each other, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Aldo and the governor are hell-bent on destroying each other and each other's race.
Right.
So that's what you're going to find out in the course of this podcast.
And it shows you that how thin that line is from government or military or any type of power, how just beside them could be, reasoning that could possibly, but it's instantly just dismissed. You know what I mean? It's just like that thin line between insanity and smarts,
Right.
So it's a chase after them through the hallways and stuff, after our three heroes. And you had a particular thing about how McDonald was holding his gun, I believe, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah, how he was holding his gun all weird. Or was that Jay?
Might have been Jay.
Well, McDonald doesn't use his gun at all, really. I mean, he's got his gun. Did they shoot anybody? I don't even remember them really shooting people up.
I remember them using a hose pipe.
Yeah, they used to hose. Yeah, they used to hose to get out. But maim quickly turns to kill once they realize they're about to get out. Once they're about to escape.
Yeah.
The governor's like, nah, kill those asses.
Yep. At this point, he's like, you know what, forget maiming them, just kill them if you have to.
It's got a great...
I don't want them getting out of here.
There's some cool shootout scenes, and I think they do probably kill some, and they get terrible shots from these humans, and they obviously can't see very well.
Well, everybody's shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Everybody shoots from the hip.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous scene. Don't shoot from the hip, unless you've got a stiff upper lip.
Podcast over.
Sorry? So yeah, cool shootout scene. The humans give chase. Everybody's a terrible shot. And then they escape from the Forbidden City. They've got what they want. He's got the information he needs. And they tell them to track them. The governor tells his human dudes, go track those three. So they get tracked back to the wilderness community, Ape City, Ape Town, whatever it's called. Ape City, I guess. It's not really a city, in my opinion, when you're living in trees, for crying out loud. And they track them, and then what happens?
Well, this is when Aldo and his Gorilla Goon Squad come out of the woodwork, and they grab Caesar and Virgil and McDonald, and they're like, where the hell have you been? It's forbidden to go to the Forbidden City.
Yeah.
And Virgil speaks up, he's like, yeah, dumbass, that's Caesar's rule.
This is Caesar.
And it's his rule to break if he wants to. So, like, he goes back and forth, Virgil, constant logic, shutting down Aldo, and finally, like, Aldo in his stupid gorilla face, like, releases them, to go, but he's mad. Again, always mad. Mm-hmm. So he lets him go, but Virgil basically has to shut him down with Caesar does what Caesar wants.
Yeah.
And, ours is to follow him. He can do whatever he wants, though.
Right.
So he has to shut down the Gorilla Goon Squad.
And then they have the human survivors, the trackers. They see the community, and they see Caesar holding a council. Okay? So all the apes are there, they're holding a council, and humans like McDonald show up to join the council.
Which is forbidden.
It's forbidden, and it pisses once off
the gorillas.
The gorillas leave, they're pissed, and it goes back to...
Yeah, they refuse the whole council.
Yeah, they're like, we're not having this, we're not having these dudes being here, we're out of here. So it's another one of those scenes that reflects a kind of, hey, not them, we're not going to have them here, we're out of here, They're different. And so it goes back to the governor and his cronies. And I've got here written, Browse is the wisest dude.
What's funny, I don't know what it was that night, but we must have been on the same wavelength, because now my notes say, basically the governor and Aldo bent on destroying one another. Caesar and Eyebrows could have worked it out. Yeah. So I had Eyebrows too for the guy.
Oh, dude's brows are incredible. So this is where you see that they have a nuclear bomb. The humans do. And this appears to be the same bomb from beneath the Planet of the Apes.
The Alpha and the Omega. The World Ender.
Now, granted, there is a little bit of, beneath the Planet of the Apes, they were pretty much on the eastern seaboard, and now they're on the western. There is an explanation somewhere in there, and again, a lot of these movies are supposed to be kind of their own little time thing, okay? So they worked with what they had, and this is where the governor pretty much says, like, we've got this bomb, we can use it if we have to. And Browse is like, that's crazy, right? And all of a sudden, these guys got a bunch of Jeeps. I guess they were underneath, they were in Ape Management, they were in somewhere underneath that didn't get destroyed.
Some sort of hangar.
They got tons of weapons
Much like the underground hangar in Battlefield Earth.
That's correct.
With all the planes.
No, it's terrible. So they got all these Jeeps, and it flips to a secret guerrilla meeting in the woods, since they left the council. Aldo and his boys are talking shit by a fire. It's at night, and what happens?
Well, Cornelius stumbles upon their secret guerrilla meeting because his pet squirrel got out of his room. He went to chase his squirrel, so he's jumping from tree to tree, going after his squirrel. He comes across the meeting.
And that's where Aldo talks about how they need to get guns, because guns are power.
Yep.
And he says that he wants to smash Caesar, which is received with just nothingness from the other gorillas. The gorillas are like, whoa, I don't know if I'm going to cheer this or not. You know what I mean?
because they're like, because he's talking about, number one, he's talking about mutiny.
Right.
Number two, he's talking about murdering Caesar,
Military
which all of
good.
them are kind of like, apes don't kill apes.
Right.
So what are you doing?
What are you talking about? So they hear Cornelius up in the tree. He's been
so
listening.
one of the gorillas on the ground spots
Yeah.
him. He's like, look up in the tree. It's Caesar's son.
And Aldo climbs up in the tree after him, pulls his sword.
Machete.
Yeah, his machete. And he proceeds to chop the branch that Cornelius is on, and
Cornelius takes a little tumble.
takes a tumble. I believe he hits his head on a rock, because he shows his head right beside a large rock that they were sitting on. Sadly, Cornelius is badly wounded.
KO'd.
He's gravely wounded. He's not dead. He's gravely wounded.
Yep.
And
And now
Lisa shows
now here's my problem. At this point, all gorillas are accessories. They all witness this.
Yep.
You know?
And they were like,
And then
stand mum.
They do this. Of course, his mom comes out yelling for him, like, Cornelius,
Lisa.
looking for him. The gorillas go, scramble! And they all take off
Get
running.
outta here.
They all take off running in different directions, like a bunch of assholes.
She didn't see the fire that they had.
She didn't see one of them. Not one of them in the night that took off
So it's
running.
very sad. She finds her son in such a nasty state. McDonald, they take him back, and McDonald pretty much figures out that the branch was cut.
Yeah.
He figures out he can see the cut marks. And now the governor, he's got all his posse of humans. They're getting their stuff ready.
They've been mobilizing.
Yep, they're mobilizing. They're out on the road, and they've got a school bus. I don't know. They got a school bus. It's a pretty good vehicle to haul a lot of people. A very dingy looking school bus, and they're approaching Ape City. Now, I have something called Ape Gank written here. Do you remember what that was?
Well, I had...
That's when they attack one of the humans, right?
Yeah, the gorillas.
There's like
two gorillas.
There's like a scouting party of
Yeah,
gorillas.
killed the human scouts.
Yeah.
There's like two human scouts.
They
and
ganked
these gorillas destroy them.
Yeah,
like I don't remember if they like choke them, if they bash them.
They got stabbed.
Whatever they did, these gorillas fuck up these two humans.
And then-
Now, in beautiful
Retribution.
retribution. So the humans go like this, binocs.
Yeah.
They're taking a look, and all of a sudden,
Straight
fire. All of a sudden, like I don't know what it's like, a 7mm cannon
Yeah.
that's attached to the Jeep blast a rocket into them.
perfect shot.
Perfect shot. You just see their two gorilla bodies go in different directions
Yeah.
in the air, like just spiral in different directions. Of course, they show the shot twice. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah,
they
there's a
show
lot of reusing of shots.
the explosion is shown twice, and you just see their gorilla bodies blown apart. And I was
It's a pretty
like,
good scene.
I was like, there you go.
They do show one of them moving because one of them actually survives that cannon blast
Somehow.
So Aldo becomes the leader after he's spending his time caring for his son.
Yep.
Okay.
And Aldo imprisons all the humans.
Yep, he imprisons all the humans, and he goes and takes the guns from the old dude, the conscience.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
Yeah, he didn't care for that very much.
They basically had to break down the door to get into the armory.
Yep.
Because that guy was not going to let him in.
Okay, so sadly, I've got written here, Cornelius is KO. That's a final KO. Cornelius, Caesar's son, dies from his wounds. So Ape has, in essence, killed Ape. Caesar doesn't really realize that now. And they go and they flip back to the human army that's traveling. And I've got written here, which we both laughed at, human goggle budget is through the roof. Everybody's got goggles. These big red goggles. And they're pristine, And it's just a funny moment where I'm like, wow, everybody's got their goggles on. Sure do.
I think I saw one set of goggles that was like yellow or orange. Everybody else had red.
Yeah.
Everybody had red.
I've got nice mortar action as they run up and they start throwing some mortars into the town.
Well, the governor's exact order was for the city to be leveled and make it look like the city we just left. Which I was kind of like, so these people have a nice community built
You don't
in
want
a place full of living vegetation.
And fruits and vegetables and stuff.
Yeah, gardens, and you just want to level all that. I guess that city living of scraping by eating rats has been too good for him.
Well, he's been eating pretty good, and he's got some weight on
I
him.
mean, why not just kill him and take over the city?
Yep.
The ape city. You know what I'm saying?
I've
he orders it to be destroyed.
I've got the battle is on, as this is our final. This is the name of the movie, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. This is the big battle that they talk about. Now, they throw up some barricades around the town, around the city.
Yeah. Now, at this point, after Cornelius dies,
Yep.
Caesar comes out.
Yeah.
Him and Aldo argue about how they're going to face them.
Correct.
But Caesar takes over.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't.
Because it's happening very quickly.
Oh yeah, this is happening quick because while the mortars are going off, the humans are starting their 10,000 yard advance. Now,
Yes.
we'll get into that in a second. But Caesar kind of looks at Aldo and he's like, I don't know if you've forgotten who the fuck I am and what I did back in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm going to lead the army.
Recognize.
He's like, so him and Virgil get GATs, machine guns.
Yep.
And they're fighting side by side but yeah, they set up
all
barriers.
come together.
Yeah, they set up barriers and they get ready to start fighting.
Aldo kind of takes off with his boys, though.
Yeah, you don't see him during this battle, which is funny.
Till the end.
Yeah,
see
till
him at
the
the
end.
end. So it's all on. The battle's on. They got these barricades they throw up, and I've got it here. A smoky gun battle ensues as there's tons of gunpowder smoke all over the place in this, and the humans are shooting back against the apes. The apes are shooting over the barricades at the humans.
The apes did not set up the 50 caliber machine gun that we spoke about earlier for whatever reason.
Silly.
It would have literally
Decimated.
cut those humans in half.
Well, the average human life, how old they were, looked about 50 to maybe 40 to 50 years old.
Right.
Okay. And you see that at how terribly slow they're walking beside the bus and the jeeps.
Now here's where the movie starts going overboard, reusing the same footage over and over and over again.
Budget once again.
Because
they didn't need to do that.
As the humans approach, they cut to the gorillas, or cut to the apes, and then cut back to the humans. It's like the same approach shots over and over and over again, and it makes it seem like they started their attack from 2 miles away.
Yeah.
And
it takes forever for them to get there.
Yeah, it takes forever before they fully engage, like hand to hand.
Because they're reusing these scenes more likely, and the jeeps and the buses are going at walking speed.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense, and the humans are all shooting from the hip.
Now, I had humans are on a 5 mile advance. This is some of the most on the budget editing I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Because the same shots are used over and over again.
And it's a well-known critique of this movie.
Right. And as they're firing mortars and their cannons that are on these Jeeps, this is what I had written, literally saw cut after cut after cut of the same tree exploding.
They hated that tree.
I think what they did, they had cameras probably set up at 2 different angles for when they detonated that tree house.
Yeah.
Okay? And I swear to God, and this is not an exaggeration, you probably see that treehouse blow up from one of those 2 camera angles
80 times.
Realistically, probably 30 times in this battle.
That's too much, too.
I mean, dude,
eight times tops.
No, dude, 30's more.
I think they zoomed in at times. They used the same footage and zoomed in, and then they brought it back. And
it was amazing.
They're like,
how many times you've
this
seen?
is all the explosives we have for this scene, so we're going to really stretch this thin. And again, it's that damn budget, which doesn't make any sense to me. These movies were popular to some degree.
But that man, God, that poor treehouse just gets it time and time again.
So they finally meet up, and Caesar and his guys, they kind of play like a dead possum act, all laying on the ground.
They feign being dead from basically all the mortars and bullets that have been. They're all laying on the ground.
That's you're taking a chance with that. I mean, all those humans could have just walked up and started shooting up people on the ground and make sure they're dead.
Yeah, because, the governor and them fully roll in their Jeeps.
Yeah.
There's bodies all over the ground. God forbid they would have come in and just been like machine guns all over the place on the ground, just shooting them.
So the governor confronts Caesar, right?
Right, because, it's just Caesar standing there by the time they get there.
And who talks Caesar down once again? Somebody talks Caesar down, doesn't it? Caesar just figured out, I'm going to let you guys go. Because he lets him go. He lets the governor go and all his cronies that are around him back into the school bus.
It was probably Virgil.
We'll see it again on the next time, but one of them kind of talks him down.
Yeah, but let's not jump to that yet. Because first, before they're talked down, they got to attack. They all got to get up from faking death.
Yeah, they fake their death. That's
and they attack the humans using what they know best.
Yeah, with their nets. They've got net skills.
Constant, we've tossed down our machine guns and we're just going to toss nets on every human.
Yep.
But yeah, instead of murdering them,
I got nets and beating ass.
Instead of murdering them, somebody talks Caesar down, like we said. I think it's Virgil.
Gary.
But they're like, you know what? The battle's over. We've won.
Yeah. You're lost.
Get the hell out of our town.
Yeah.
So you and your survivors get the hell out of here.
Get on your school bus.
Yeah, get on your school bus. So they all load up in the school bus and they start leaving.
And then somebody shows up with his posse. It's General Aldo. and he flanks them as they're driving away. And boy, does he beat the shit out of these guys.
Yep, he circles them up with his Gorilla Goon Squad. They're riding around in horses around the bus. And then I think they fire a couple shots into the bus.
Man, they nuked this bus. I got fuck 'em up, gats 'em up written. I mean, they're throwing grenades in. They're machine gunning through the windows. And these guys get straight Sonny Corleone in The Godfather. I mean, just riddled.
Aldo was not having any survivors.
Right.
He was like, nope, nobody's surviving.
So, they got their asses kicked. And now, Caesar confronts...
Well, everybody's cheering Caesar.
Yeah, everybody's cheering Caesar.
Everybody's like, he's great.
Caesar!
And there's even a few gorillas in that scene that are like, yes, Caesar. So then Aldo rides back into town with his Gorilla Goon Squad.
Right when Caesar's about to confront, he's going towards the cage where all the humans are.
Yeah, he's going to go unimprison all the humans that have been locked up.
And you've got a bit of a mob that's around there, a bit of a lookers, watching, and pretty much. And I've got to say, I've got written down here, most of the masks are pretty good in this movie overall. I didn't have a whole bunch of slack.
I agree with that.
I thought that the masks were.
That's where all the budget went, I guess.
Yeah, they were good masks. I didn't really have any. And this is a scene where you see a lot of extras. And they didn't really have that slack jaw.
Not to the degree of like some of the guerrilla councils in the past movies.
Yeah.
So Caesar's like, let the humans out of the corral.
Yeah.
And Aldo instantly is like, no, don't do it. He's riding up at that moment.
Right.
With
They're
his
not to be trusted.
goons.
They're humans and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So
kill them all. He's pretty much like kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill all the humans.
Aldo threatens Caesar in front of everyone.
And everybody's like, whoa.
Yeah. Everybody's kind of taken aback. And at that point, Virgil's like, so are you going to kill him basically the same way you killed Cornelius? And he drops that on him.
Yeah.
And everybody...
And all the other gorillas feel the guilt now.
Yeah, and everybody else kind of that didn't know about it looks at it and they're like, Apes killed Ape.
Ape has killed Ape. Ape has killed Ape. So they start chanting, Ape has killed Ape. Ape has killed... Let's keep it going. Let's see how long we can keep this going. 20 minutes. We got time. Ape has killed Ape. All right. That was stupid.
So...
Dumb idea of yours.
Aldo gets scared.
He starts climbing a tree.
Unnerved. And he starts climbing a tree. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm climbing this tree.
And then...
Caesar pursues him.
Caesar pursues him up the tree. And it's like, again, Aldo keeps jumping up ledges. Caesar keeps jumping up to the ledge. He keeps jumping. I was like, okay.
It's a hell of a climbing tree.
Yeah, I was like, enough. We get it. Caesar's chasing him. Stop with this continuously. There's just some moments in this film, much like the long drawn out battle, where I'm like, okay, get to your point. Okay, I see what you're trying to do. So, he tries to escape. Caesar climbs after him. He says to Aldo, Caesar does, he says, you murdered my son. Really pissed. Aldo tries to attack Caesar with a sword. Machete. And he slips, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Falls to his death.
I guess he overswings. Caesar does one of these little dodge numbers.
Yeah.
And Aldo just tumbles.
Yep.
Tumbles probably 50 feet down, smashes into the ground.
And he's dead.
Yep.
And the community is pretty much, everything. Aldo's done, and the people are freed out, obviously, out of the cage. And it flips back to Browse, our boy Browse, and the human woman that's there. I can't remember her name. And she's like, "Look, I was told I've got my signal. Pretty much like if they don't come back, blow up the bomb." And Browse is like, "Whoa!" He says the bomb has got to be something venerated, something that's it's powerful. It should be shown respect, kind of thing. Not just kind of used willy nilly. And I got to say, this is a really cool moment for one of my favorite movies, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, because this shows you kind of the birth of the mutants and their worshiping of the bomb. And it's just neat that once again, here's something at the fifth movie that goes all the way back around to the second movie and kind of says, look, this is how this, may have, because again, all these are always, this movie ends and this other one begins, maybe, this is how it happened. There's some cool timelines that you can look online and see, but this is one of those cool moments where it attaches itself to Beneath the Planet of the Apes, as it shows that these people are obviously going to stay in the radiation, stay in the Forbidden City, and thousands of years later or so, we're going to maybe have Brent again and Taylor, and they're going to be in the Forbidden City. So it comes all back around. And then we have the last scene of the film, which is a cool scene.
Well, hold on. Before you get to that,
yeah,
we need to talk about what facilitates the final scene of the movie, which is when Caesar frees everybody out of the corral.
Right.
They have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald kind of leads the conversation and says, we need to function as equals
right.
in our society.
Right.
like, it doesn't need to be apes lording over man.
Right.
It needs to be man and ape working together in a community side by side.
Right, equals.
So they have that conversation. So now,
Right.
jumps back to the final scene of the movie,
Right.
which is back with the lawgiver telling the story.
Yep.
And
it has human and ape children listening to him together, and they're learning and living in harmony together is what it pretty much shows. So the choices that were made back
except for
then,
that orangutan kid that pulls the little girl's hair.
I thought it was a gorilla, or was it a chimp?
I don't remember.
One of the apes pulls this little girl's hair.
Yeah, one of the ape pulls a human girl's hair, which just goes to show that all these years later, they're still working to get along.
Yeah, they're still working to get along. It's a great social type of message, all these movies, I think, at the end of the day. I've got equals written here, and of course that brings me to Pauly Shore, Encino Man, equals. They got Burrito, I believe, Sneeze from Jonathan Randall just then. Rips open the burrito, cold, equals. Yeah, that's where I got that from. So, great movie, Encino Man. And,
2.5.
Yeah, part-time. So that's the end of Battle of the Planet of the Apes.
And that's the end of the original
5 movies.
5 movies.
So let's hear, you can either talk about this movie or all the movies together. What are these 5 movies to you?
It's a great science fiction. Mm-hmm. These aren't... I saw somebody the other day made the distinction, like, between Star Trek and Star Wars. One person says Star Trek is science fiction, whereas Star Wars was science fantasy.
Okay.
And I feel like these movies are good science fiction as well.
I agree.
Not to say that it's not a fantasy world where apes talk, but it's just, it was a great series. Yeah. Overall, taking out, of course, Escape. But, I liked them all. I will say, in retrospect, I think my ranking goes like this. Original film. Okay. Conquest.
Yep.
Beneath. Battle. Escape. That's me.
Right.
And they're good movies. Like I said, nothing really happens in this movie, to be honest. It's really just
humans.
It's a battle. Yeah. That's all it is. I know that's what the title says, but story-wise, nothing really occurs that drives anything new in the story. This was a sequel solely for the purpose of just trying to squeeze out a little bit more money
and to have maybe a nice end to it. Because in the second movie, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, they destroy the world. And so this shows you maybe now in this timeline, it doesn't get destroyed because they're now living in harmony. So it's trying to put like a nice little bow at the end of all this.
Now, was the producer of these films, was his name Richard Zanuck? Is that correct?
I thought it was Arthur B. Jacobs. P. Jacobs.
Who is Richard Zanuck? He's a movie producer.
All right.
I saw a thing yesterday on television. It was talking about where's the original girl from Planet of the Apes. And it was talking about...
Nova?
It was talking about... Was it Linda Harrison?
We talked about this before.
I know. Anyways, it was talking about her. She wound up marrying Richard Zanuck, who's a famous movie producer, is what she wound up doing. And then that was really the only 2 movies she ever had. In the interview I saw yesterday, she was talking about, Charlton Heston was her on-screen idol. And she got to be in 2 movies with him,
Yep.
Which, she thought was great. But,
he's great.
But she really didn't go on to do anything after that. But sorry, getting back to the movies.
Harrison, Linda Harrison. Thank you, IMDb. So yes, you were saying.
But getting back to these movies total, they were great as a group. They're great. They all go together. Even Escape, as much as I don't like the film,
it's the linchpin.
It holds
no.
Yeah, it holds no.
You don't have Conquest and Battle if you don't have Escape from the Planet of the Apes. It's the smartest of all of the films. It creates all these other movies. We talked about this.
Dude, it only creates it because they had to come up with a way to keep the movies going.
And they did.
It's a terrible, terrible film.
I think your time's about to run out.
My time goes until I say it's gone. I'm Caesar of this podcast. I think you're General Aldo will blow it out your ass.
I'm General Ursus.
But, it's... Wow, Richard Zanuck produced Planet of the Apes, the Tim Burton one we're going to watch tonight.
Okay.
So, I'm rambling. It doesn't matter. I liked all the movies. Battle on its own, okay, not that great a film because, like I said, it doesn't do anything to progress the story.
No, it's got a great scene in it that I love, but
it's got some good parts in it, but it's exactly what you would expect.
It's a nice little bow.
All it is apes doing something that in a way, provokes humans, and then it's just their fight.
Yeah.
It's Rocky IV. It's the Rocky IV of the series.
Right.
Because it's montage and then a fight.
And Hearts on Fire.
That's all it is.
Right. Hearts on Fire.
But I enjoyed watching all these movies again. Because for Escape, Conquest, and Battle, it was only my second time ever seeing those films.
Right.
This time around. So I enjoyed watching all them. Your thoughts?
All right, I'll try to keep it. I could talk ad nauseum about these. So of course I like all these films, and my love for them is only just a hair's length away, difference from one another. So there's not too many post-apocalyptic movies out there, and all of these movies in essence are post-apocalyptic movies. Even Escape from the Planet of the Apes to some degree. It's a little bit different, but it still shows you it has touches of it. And Conquest, shows you a crazy world that could possibly happen in the future. I think it's great science fiction, like you said. I think Battle of the Planet of the Apes is a very lukewarm film. It's got a great scene when they go into the Forbidden City, something you don't see very often, like I said originally. The original Planet of the Apes is a great movie with a great shocking ending, a real head-scratcher for that time. Beneath the Planet of the Apes, it melds a lot of that stuff that you like together, gives you a little extra, and then blows it all up. And then Escape, I believe, is one of the smartest movies of the group because it made humans think about the future, think about their actions, think about what these apes may do. How do we prevent this? Well, the first movie just says, ha-ha, it was Earth all along. The second movie says, we can't really live together, let's blow it up. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes says, right, we're sick of this shit, we're breaking out. And Battle of the Planet of the Apes says, let's live in harmony. Okay? Escape from the Planet of the Apes, I think, has multiple things that goes along with it. From the mirroring of Taylor and Dr. Zira and Cornelius, how they both went to each other's worlds, if you wish. How one was treated, but then still how human nature is going to say, what could this happen in the future? What could happen in the future if these apes stay here, or we allow them to breed, or we allow this to happen? So, I think it's a catalyst for all the stories that come after it. That's why I like Escape from the Planet of the Apes. It does have some fun and some humor in it. And then you have Conquest, which is just a crazy film. It's an amazing film. It's very unique. And then Battle, like I said, lukewarm with a happy ending. I think everybody should see them. I think anybody that says, like I've said before, that I haven't seen those other ones, well, they're only hurting themselves. Because if they like the Planet of the Apes, and even if they like Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which they may have seen, they should like these other ones too. They all go together, and it's a neat little kind of circle it goes through. I think it's got great acting. Rodney McDowell does a great job. Paul Williams. I mean, there's so many characters. And
that was Paul Williams' first role.
Oh, it was? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Well, he does a great job. I mean, Charlton Heston. They're just great films. And sure, the first movie is going to have that big ending that you can't touch. You know what I mean? M. Night Shyamalan action right there, where you can't relive that big ending once again. So I don't think the other movies really try to do that. They try to be clever on their own ways. Especially like Beneath, where it's like, well, let's just blow it up. Nobody walked out of that theater going, I saw that coming. Because I don't think I've seen any other movie that has done that. But
I've seen one other movie that destroyed the world, that made it where there could not be a sequel.
What's that?
The Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, you're right. Good film. You just spoiled it for everybody.
Spoilers.
Well, they should know there's nothing but spoilers in this. But I like Planet of the Apes a lot. I really like the TV show. So I'm looking forward to us doing that. This was a good. It's a good movie. I look forward to seeing it again for noticing other things as our lifelong blood pack. It will probably make us go insane, to be honest with you.
I'm already there.
That's understandable, and I'm looking forward to seeing these all again once over. It'll be a while until we see them again, so I think this is good. It's a good break. It takes a couple months for us to get back around to this. But if you've never seen these films, of course, and if you've listened to this, then we've told you everything about them. But still, go watch them.
Because we don't do it justice.
Right, and we hope that while you've listened to this podcast, and you're great, humans. Hopefully, they're human beings. I hope that if you haven't watched them, then you went and got them and you watched them before these podcasts came up. Like, my ultimate scenario is they knew that we were going to do Battle of the Planet of the Apes. They hadn't seen it, so they watched it before we did. Like Friday night, they watched it. If there's somebody out there doing that, then you get super kudos from us. But these have been 5 great films. I feel like down the road, like I wish I could like add to them these podcasts because I know there's so much more to them. And I love the fact that it started the whole merchandising thing. Go watch documentaries whenever they come on TV. And Planet of the Apes. You got to go ape with these movies. So tonight we have fast forward years after these movies were released.
2001.
Yeah, 2001.
Which is funny because that's when Battle takes place.
True. And Tim Burton decides to take the reins and make his own Planet of the Apes.
Stolen from Kevin Smith, basically, part of it.
Okay.
They had a whole little feud going on.
Seems like that happens a lot with Kevin Smith, doesn't it? Where he was going to do something and then he doesn't do it.
Yeah, basically what happens is I think pretty much the majority of the premise I think was Kevin Smith's, and then Tim Burton changed I think the ending.
Right.
And they got into a little bit of a heated feud.
That happens a bunch, I think, with Kevin Smith. Because I've heard him attached to so many movies, right? Superman, Batman, Meteor Man. I think he was attached to Meteor Man.
That's not funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
He over the years, he has been brought in many times for different scripts, to work on scripts at some point.
He's a joke. All right, so tonight we're gonna watch Planet of the Apes.
I'm not having that.
Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
No,
Well,
you apologize to Kevin Smith.
I will not.
You will.
No,
he's not a joke.
he is a joke.
No,
He can shove his tusk. He can shove tusk up his ass.
You're
all right.
asshole.
So, it's a guy who talks about superhero movies. But can you name me his superhero movie that he's made?
Daredevil.
Did he make Daredevil?
No, he was in it.
He didn't do shit.
He was
Guy's
in
not doing
Daredevil.
shit. Okay, so we're gonna watch that tonight. We may have brain aneurysms at some point while watching it, but no, it's got some good stuff in it. I can't believe I'm saying that because this movie really gets shitted on whenever there's a list or anybody talking about it. It does have some good stuff. It's got some filth, just filth in this film, and the human element is practically non-existent in it. They are useless.
Yeah, dude. They actually have Chris Christopherson in the film,
Who's garbage.
and I don't think he speaks once in the whole movie. So I don't understand.
He does.
How would he talk?
They could talk. They could talk.
Did the humans talk
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
movie?
yeah. They could talk in that one.
I don't remember. All I know is there's really no point in having somebody of his caliber in the movie.
Caliber? Chris Christopherson?
But dude, whether he's a good actor or not, he's still a famous country music singer, man.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I'm just saying, like,
I know.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like-
yeah, he's a
like,
name.
It's
He's a
just
name.
there was no point in putting him in the role they put him in.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
So it should be fun for us to watch that tonight.
Paul Giamatti looks like he has no makeup on in the film.
Jesus, that's terrible.
I was just going to say that right now.
Let's keep it all for next week.
Yeah. it's
So
gonna be
next
interesting.
week, you guys will get our Tim Burton Planet of the Apes podcast.
And whether it's recorded live tonight or not, we don't know. We'll
More than likely
discuss. We'll discuss when this is over. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm pushing for because I think people will get a lot of enjoyment with our commentary. If we tell them when to start the movie and we start the movie, I think they might get a lot of enjoyment out
That's
of
long, man.
this. Maybe
Isn't that movie
so.
like 2 hours long or almost 2 hours long?
Well, people don't have to listen to this podcast, man. Do whatever they want. Maybe we'll do two things. We'll do live. We'll record it live tonight, and then we'll just do a normal podcast next week, recapping it, and they can pick which one they want to listen to. I think that's a good idea.
All right, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, so that's it. The music hopefully is coming on, right?
Yep. Music's coming.
Where
in.
can they find it? Well, no, it's not coming in yet.
Okay.
Tell them
stop
where
the
we
music.
can. Yeah.
Stop the music.
Music stop. All right. Where can they find us?
We're on Twitter, Go 8 Podcast. We're on Facebook. I don't know what the hell it is. Probably Go 8 Podcast. Go 8 Podcast Show at gmail.com if you want to email us anything.
No one's emailed us.
Nobody has emailed us yet, so that's fine.
Assholes.
That's our listeners you're
Oh
talking
well.
about.
Oh well. They can take a little bit of abuse.
Okay, well, take that up, listeners.
Yep. They're strong. They're internet people. Believe me, they've taken tons of abuse.
Honestly, I think Twitter is the best place to get us. Go 8 Podcast on Twitter.
Yep.
And then iTunes.
Yep.
Go 8 Podcast.
Yep. Do a review.
5 stars.
5 stars. It will take nothing less.
Or 1 star.
Join us or die.
I honestly don't care.
Yeah. And the music's starting now. So
Okay.
there we go.
There's
so we're
the music
wrapping up
for
the
you.
end of this podcast.
Yep, that's the end.
And this has been fun. I love these 5 films. I
wrapped.
look forward to watching them again. And we may start watching them with commentaries and isolated music scores.
We'll never watch a movie with an isolated music score.
So that's for some real music nerds
Can't
right
even
there.
believe that's an option on a
I
damn
know.
DVD.
It's like torture. So yeah, that's it. And
See you next week.
See you next week. Go Ape.
Go Ape.
Oh yeah, go Ape.